Hey everyone, before we get started here, if I could just ask one quick, very easy thing to do. If you're enjoying this, maybe as much as we are even, you could go ahead and introduce this podcast to a friend of yours. It's the easiest way for us to grow. Now, yes, I will also beg and plead for some reviews, but I know that that's a pain in the butt sometimes to do. So introduce this to a friend. It's very easy, trust me. All right, now on to the post-merge of China. Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants Podcast, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game while criticizing current and former players. Today we are going to be going through the post-merge of Survivor Season 15 China. My name is Josh Wessler, and I'm joined today by two wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Derek Kubicek.
Hello, and boy howdy can I say that I'm excited to be back for the post-merge of China. And on these Rewind episodes, I've never seen this, I was not spoiled, I did not know the winner, and I'm really excited to get in and talk about it.
And I'm also joined by my other co-host, Mr. Ryan Stacy.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Stacy. I'm your resident superfan here. I know everything there is to know about Survivor and not much about most other things, but good thing we're talking about Survivor, right, gents?
Of course.
Right.
For my point of view on the podcast here, I watched China back in January of 2018, so it's been a good 3+ years now since I watched it. And might I say it was very entertaining to and enjoyable to go back and revisit some of my personal favorite characters within Survivor. So I enjoyed watching the finale here just a few minutes ago, and I'm going to say I'm very excited to go through this post-merge.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a good time. China has a great post-merge. Before we get into that, the point of this podcast is there's a lot of Survivor. There's 40 seasons of Survivor. You're probably busy people. I don't know, maybe you're not. But what if you don't have time to watch every season of Survivor? What if you can only watch a select few? Well, that's what we're here for. We rewatch so you don't have to. We're here to tell you which seasons are must-watch Survivor, which ones are not. So if you need to pick and choose, you can, even though you should watch all the seasons. We're done with Survivor China, Season 15. So, gentlemen, is Survivor China must-watch Survivor?
Yes, and I'll give you 3 great reasons. 1, we see something that I've never seen before, and I've seen 27 onward and now 1 through 15. Never seen it before. And it's strategic, and it has massive implications in the game. I love it. 2, entertainment. This is one of the most fun seasons overall as a whole that I've seen. And 3, the final Tribal Council performance is also worth noting. So for those 3 reasons, and I'm going to fall heavily on the entertainment side, because this is television first and foremost, this is must-watch Survivor.
I'm even going to hit on the entertainment side a little bit more, too. I know that we really advocated for this in the pre-merge. Same thing in the post-merge. This, especially for this season, this, when I was watching through the first time, might have had one of the biggest impacts for me just when the season ended. I don't know why, but I felt the most attached to these people specifically compared to any of the other seasons. I'm not sure why that might be, but I just immediately went and just followed half the cast on social media and just have kept up with them since. So something stuck with me, memorable characters, overall great entertainment.
Oh yeah, Survivor China's got one of the best casts. It has one of the worst moves in Survivor history. It has one of the best Final Tribal Council performances of all time. One of my all-time favorite winners. What's not to love here? Seriously, what is there not to love here?
I think love is the key word in that, because even when Josh was saying, he felt connected to this group of characters the most. It didn't matter which character it was. You either loved to love them or you loved to hate them.
Oh, yeah.
So all it was love, even in the negative. If
that's love, baby, makes you strong.
If you're looking at Jean Robert, you're looking at PG. Both of those people who I loved to watch them kind of get dunked on by Survivor over and over again. More so Jean Robert, less so PG, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm getting into spoilers now. You love to love or you love to hate. So I agree with Josh 100%. And with you, what's not to love?
This is must-watch Survivor. Hands down.
Hands down.
So stop listening to this podcast. Go watch Survivor China if you haven't seen it. Or if you haven't watched it in a while, go watch it. It's a treat to revisit.
It is.
There really isn't a dud. Even some of the more less memorable characters, like a Sharia, she at least had some fun moments in the pre-merge.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, go watch China. What are you doing?
Yeah, if you somehow stumbled across this episode and it's the first time that you're interacting with us, there's a pre-merge before this that you can go check out. So just go one episode before this and you'll find it.
So spoiler alert from here on out for Survivor China. You've been warned. We're going to be talking about everything in Survivor China, including the winner, in any second here. So get out of here in 3.
Yeah, go ahead and unlock your phone. We're going to give you a little extra time.
2.
Open that app.
1.
Hit the pause button.
Derek, you got your winner pick correct.
I did it.
Todd wins.
Now, to be fair, the edit does a piss poor job of disguising. If their goal was to try and like disguise who was going to win, episode 1 was horrible for that.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
All 3 of us had Todd as our winner pick.
Yeah.
That tells you something. Like, I wanted to be mad that you picked Todd because inside I'm just like, good, dang it, Derek. But I did the same thing instead of Josh.
Yeah. You get to the end of episode 1, and I think you even said at the time, like, it's Todd. If you picked anyone else, you picked wrong.
Yeah, there's no one else. So,
I also have a confession. I didn't say this in the pre-merge because I didn't want to give anything away. But this is actually the first season that I remember who my winner pick was. And I don't know if that might have caused me to be a little more connected to Todd. Is when I watched this the first time around, I do remember picking Todd just because I remember this was still when Ryan would just ask me all right, who's your winner pick? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's so annoying. All right, Todd.
That's fair.
This was early on.
And now we're on a podcast.
I
So.
wore you down.
Yeah. Why didn't you tell me to write all these down instead of Snapchatting them where they're gone forever?
Yeah, that's true. That was our first mistake.
But yes, Todd was a very easy and obvious choice.
And, you know, just to talk about Todd for a little bit. Derek, earlier on in the show, back when we talked about Survivor Cook Islands, I said the Survivor winner I see you being most like, in terms of both personality, style of play, general, like, personality, mannerisms, that kind of stuff. I said you were most like Yule. I have a pick for you, Josh. Haven't got there yet.
We'll get there.
Someday.
Ha-ha.
But for me, the winner I see myself being closest to in terms of like personality and how they see the game is Todd. So I have a big attachment to Todd and Survivor China just because Todd's great. I think especially in the reunion show, hearing him talk about the game and the way he sees it, the way he plays it, it's just like, this is my Survivor thesis statement. Everything he said basically is like, this is how I play. So I have to give a ton of credit to Todd for shaping me into being the Survivor fan I am, because I think I got a lot of my gameplay mentality from Todd.
And you're allowed to see yourself through whatever light you want. I actually think you're more like Richard Hatch than you are like Todd.
Sure.
And I'm not talking like, the season 8 incident
Sure.
Richard Hatch. I'm talking about the
Ryan's
way that
getting naked.
the way that he sees the game, the way he wears it on his sleeve. Like, yeah, you know what, I'm the bad guy. And I think that Richard Hatch and Todd are very alike, if not achieving those ends by dissimilar means. And, you always talk about how you're good in the water. Richard Hatch is good in the water.
That's fair.
I know that, like, he's more of the provider type, but he also didn't really care about being provider type as much in Season 8 after the game had evolved. So I see you more as a Richard Hatch, but I can see the similarities between a Todd and a Richard.
Yeah, I think they're very similar, and one reason I kind of discount Richard is because I almost discount Season 1 just because it was the first season.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost don't like it.
How do you compare yourself to someone
Yeah.
on Season 1 when nobody knew what they were doing except Richard?
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
won?
So basically, the point is I love Todd. He's
Yeah.
great. He's one of my all-time favorite winners. He's up there. Top 3 for sure, I think.
Of your favorite winners?
Yeah, all-time.
Interesting.
He is my favorite so far.
So far, he is my number 1.
I'll say through 15 seasons, he is my number 1.
So let's jump into this cast. Just a quick refresher. We're at the merge now. There's 10 people left. Coming in from the Fei Long tribe, we got 6 people. We have Jean-Robert Balande, a professional poker player from Las Vegas. James Clement, a gravedigger from Louisiana. Denise Martin, a school lunch lady from Massachusetts. Amanda Kimmel, a hiking guide from Los Angeles. Courtney Yates, a waitress from New York City. And Todd Herzog, a flight attendant from Utah. Coming in from the Jean Hu tribe, we have Jamie Dugan, a student from Columbia, South Carolina. Frosty Zernow, a student athlete from Chicago. Eric Huffman, a musician from Nashville. And PG Law, a jeweler from California. That's our 10. Going into the game this season, all of us picked Todd as our winner pick. We all still have Todd, and it's going to work out for all of us. So picking new winner picks isn't going to matter at all this podcast.
We did it!
We did it.
Hooray.
Good for us. Screw you, Derek. Guys ready to jump into the episodes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 7, I'm Not As Dumb As I Look. Great title. So at this point, James gets the second idol. He's still in the Jean Hu tribe. He has his first Fei Long idol. Now he's got the second one. Jamie notices, and Eric notices, that, hey, the plaques are missing from the gate. That's weird. And they find each side of the gate has one. Only one was real. So they take one of the other ones. It doesn't have any writing on it. It's not an idol. They think it's an idol. So Jamie keeps it. And then she finds the 2 real idols in James's bag. yet still thinks she has an idol.
Yet still thinks that there's, a third one maybe? Or that James has the wrong ones?
Yeah, and maybe the edit hams this up. I do think that it's an okay idea to maybe keep it. Sure. Because, what harm does it do? What more can they do to me? So it might have been hamming it up, but it is funny that it's how many do you think there are?
Math.
Yep, math. Are there 4 hidden immunity idols at camp because you got 2 pagodas and 1 on each side? Probably not.
There's 16 idols, 1 for each person.
Yeah, it's only fair. We are in China. There's a joke here somewhere.
Communism. Meanwhile, Courtney argues with Todd, Amanda, and Denise because last time they voted out Sharia. Courtney didn't want to do that. She wants John Robert gone. And she's like, you guys all suck up to him. Welcome to Survivor, Courtney. That's how you play this game.
Everybody sucks up to... Well, okay, any Survivor player worth their salt sucks up to everybody at all times. You do not.
That's why I love you, Courtney.
And I got a little annoyed with Courtney for a while. I kind of started out, okay with her, liked how brusque she was and how out of her element she was, good TV. And then I really didn't like her that much because she got kind of old. And then she came back around. It's like that episode of How I Met Your Mother where the 500 Miles song is stuck in the car radio. Just
cut forward 3 hours. It's and we love it again.
Yeah, it's you love it, you hate it, you love it again. So it was quite the personal arc for me with Courtney.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned in the pre-merge, I never really liked Courtney the first time around. I think the dosage that I had of Courtney this time, watching only the premiere, the merge, and the finale, definitely helped because she grew on me a little bit. But I definitely saw moments where I'm like, no, past Josh was right.
So, merge. Jeff there tells him, hey, you're merged, you're going to get a feast, you're going to get a show. Just a reminder, this game never stops. Have fun! That's a clue, guys. So they go watch the feast, the show, and they get back to camp, and they're merged, and they're having a great time. Jeff shows up at camp. Uh-oh. And they're going to have an immunity challenge, and it's memory based on what happened at the show. What do you remember that happened at the show? Were you paying attention? And Frosty wins immunity, even though he says something, he's like, I have a 0% chance of winning this one, so this sucks. And then
Never zero, Frosty.
Good job, Frosty. So Todd has a final 3 deal with Amanda and Jean Robert. So Jean Robert is like, hey, Todd, if you screw me over, I'm going to hold you responsible and you're not going to win the game. Cut to final tribal council. Jean Robert votes for Todd and Todd wins the game. Beautiful.
Jean Robert is good to use his vote as leverage because especially if you know that you're someone who's not well liked, it's a perfectly rational strategy to say yeah, I will be bitter jury. I will be a contagion on that jury and I will make everybody hate you.
There's a strategy to deal with this because, this is not used a ton on Survivor. We don't see a lot of this where somebody threatens, I'm not going to vote for you. And we're going to see in a future season, somebody's going to threaten them and they just vote them out. Basically, it's I don't negotiate with terrorists. You can't worry about that and you got to worry about winning them back over later on. You can't worry about someone saying they're not going to vote for you because you got to vote people out. That is Survivor.
Yeah, and if you do cut to, I believe it was the reunion show, Jean Robert actually even said, yeah, I made the same statement to Amanda. It just wasn't shown in the edit.
Yeah, right.
So him saying this to multiple people just kind of automatically... That's something that you should think of if someone approaches you with that, is that how many people did they say this to? They can't hold a grudge against all 3 people at Final Tribal.
And Jean Robert did hold a grudge against all 3 people at Tribal Council. Guess what? You still got to vote for one of them.
Yep.
Suck it. So Fei Long, they kind of all want Jamie out. Jamie is kind of seen as the strategic force of Jean, who I don't know how true that is. Her and PG, really.
Yeah, I definitely got the sense that they were more scared of Jamie because she was kind of like the silent killer. She was, the snake hiding in the grass, and if you let her get too close to you, she's going to lash out, she's going to bite, she's going to kill you.
Yeah.
So, get rid of the sneaky sneak because, PG's not so good at hiding it.
No. Yeah, and Jean Robert wants PG out. And Jean Robert is incorrect. Jamie's the correct move.
Based on what we see, I would agree that Jamie is the correct move.
I think she's overall a better player. PG has strategic chops.
Yeah.
She just doesn't have a great social game.
Even just given where, drop us in that moment. Let's say that PG is actually phenomenal socially, but she's just been dealt a really bad hand with, opposing personalities on her tribe. That matters, though. Yeah. So, based on where you are right now, you got to be more scared of Jamie.
John, who tries to bring over Frosty, but why would Frosty jump? That's 4-6 instead of 3-7.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense for Frosty leave. So, Tribal Council, Jamie plays the fake idol. Oh, it's glorious. I love it so much.
And you can tell she wasn't really expecting anything from it. But if you know you're going home, I mean, I kind of feel like this is the original, like, Adam at the lectern thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know, always worth a shot.
Always.
Jamie did it first.
Jamie did it first.
Yep.
Yeah, play it. Why not? Why not? You're going to look like a doofus, but it's the right move.
Yep. You're going to look like more of a doofus if it's actually an idol.
Yep. What would you rather do? Play a fake idol and look a little dumb, or not play two real idols?
And look real dumb.
Who is the one we always make fun of from Survivor China? James or Jamie?
We can only have one James name.
Yep. So it ends up being 7 votes for Jamie, 3 votes for Jean Robert. Outright move.
Yeah, that's the fine move.
Yep.
I got nothing against it.
You know, again, when you get to the merge, it's take somebody out, not you. You just need to get through the chaotic merge boot. And this one's a little less chaotic than normal, but that is the general rule, is just get through the first one.
Yeah, the one thing that I was a little surprised at is that they didn't make more of an effort, since it seemed like Courtney and Frosty were so close together, that they didn't make an effort to just use them as a pair and try to swing both of them together at the same time, because they might have been able to, if they talked to both of them at the same time, something could have happened. They could have pulled both, and it would have been at least debatable about which way you might want to swing.
Yeah. I mean, Courtney is the perfect person to try and get to swing because she plays emotionally.
Yeah.
Hey, Courtney, you want to vote out Jean Robert? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to give out awards for the best player and the worst player of each episode. Josh, who is your best player of the merge episode?
I had the guy who found another idol. It was James. He is going to just, well, hopefully have easy immunity for back-to-back if he really needs it. And now that we're in the post-merge and he's a massive challenge threat, that is the type of thing that can set you up to just coast on into the finale if needed.
I had Frosty because he won immunity, and then he ended up siding with the Fei Long against his little Jean Hu members. You know, you may like your Jean Hu people, but you got to cut him and move on and try and integrate with the Fei Long alliance. And I like that he tried, or is trying.
Yeah, my big issue, and I had Frosty as an honorable mention. I did end up falling on the side of James. One, because he found an idol. He now has 2. I know he found that in a different episode, but the treasure hoard amasses, you know, Smaug here. And then the other part is that James, we're going to see this as a consistent theme through the next couple episodes, he was the one saying, we need to keep our tribe together, stay the course. And normally, like, for a lot of people, I would say this is not necessarily a great strategy, but for the merge episode or after a tribe swap, you need to try and do the simple thing if you're a part of the majority. And right now, James is right. So, second idol, stay the course. It's enough to get best from me.
Okay. How about worst player, Josh?
Mine was Courtney, just because if you're not careful, you're going to start being seen as a liability, especially when you're so just stubborn about who you want to vote for. Yeah, she actually did end up voting for the right person here, but you're starting to lose the confidence of your team members. So you got to start being careful. Yeah,
she was fighting with Todd, Amanda, and Denise this episode, and doesn't get that. You kind of need to suck up to people if you want to go far in the game. She goes far if you want to win the game.
And I'll just throw out a dishonorable mention for Jean Robert, just because I think that if you're at the point of using your jury vote as leverage, even though you're a part of the majority alliance, you're not in a very good position. But it's Courtney.
We can almost always give Jean Robert a dishonorable mention, just every time, even if he's not in the episode. I mean, we're watching episodes of Survivor Worlds Apart. Dishonorable mention to Jean Robert.
You know what? I think I'm just, if he's not actually the worst, I'm just going to start saying dishonorable mention to Jean Robert.
All right, episode 8, High School Friend Contest. So we get this boat sinking reward challenge, which I always like. Denise is not picked for either team because it's a schoolyard pick. But during the challenge, Jeff is just ragging on Courtney a little bit. And Courtney's like, oh, shut up, Jeff. And I'm just like, yes. Thank you, Courtney.
The Courtney quips throughout the entire post-merge are second to none.
Yeah, it's true. Amanda, James, Jean Robert, and Todd win reward, and they get to go on a feast, and they get an idol clue. And Jean Robert's reading the idols clues. He's like, guys, this is insane. Did you know there's idols in the game? And the other two are like, oh, wow.
Oh, no.
What a big surprise. Who would have guessed?
And there are 5 clues on there? Whoa.
And this is the episode where Jean Robert goes home, and it's just a big old dunk fest.
Yeah, the editing around this idea that, okay, one, you're in this alliance, but you know nothing. You're basically useless. Nobody really likes you. It's brutal.
It's great. PG and Eric, they're trying to work on Frosty, Courtney, and Denise to join up and knock out Jean Robert. Not a bad pitch.
That sounds like a nice group that might swing.
And Courtney would be into that, I feel like.
Yeah.
What? We want to vote out Jean Robert? I've been saying that for weeks.
Here's the thing with voting out Jean Robert, though. You know, it's a great way to motivate Courtney to do something, but he cannot win the game. He's the perfect person to take to the end because he will not win against anyone. So maybe don't get rid of him.
The biggest threat from him is if he sees you as a threat. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, he is chaotic.
It's the wild card that you could bring to the end, but do you really want to risk that?
Yeah.
He's great to have in the final three with you, but he's like Lex. He can probably influence the game in ways that are not really good for anybody, including himself. He would just drop a bomb on the whole thing, and then who knows what happens. So, like, I'm fine with Jean Robert going, especially now that there are a couple more up in the numbers. You get Jamie gone, you've got a little bit of leeway. You can help solidify Courtney and cut out the chaos. I understand. It's a good pitch. It's not reality yet.
Before the immunity challenge, Todd decides he wants to shake things up a little bit, knock out James next, and tells Amanda and Frosty this. Okay, it's one thing to want to do that, but you wait till after the immunity challenge to start that. Well, what if James wins immunity, and then now Amanda and Frosty have ammo against you? It's like, hey, Todd wants to get you out. You know, I get wanting to get James out. He's the biggest threat, but you got to be careful of the timing.
Especially with someone who is so new to your quote-unquote alliance in Frosty.
Yeah.
Like, Amanda might be a little bit different, but Frosty, why?
Yeah.
And I will say that if you're going to trust two people, I think that Frosty and Amanda are two good ones to trust. Amanda more so because I feel like Todd and Amanda are kind of in lockstep, at least for the time being. Frosty was at least able to keep his mouth shut about the idol, and he's really trying to integrate himself. So he's got, because I mean, yeah, he can go ahead and blow up Todd's game, but that doesn't really help Frosty out. Staying in good with Todd may help Frosty.
Yes, but there could come a point where blowing up Todd's game could help Frosty.
Agreed. So that's why, yeah, keep the ammo off their belt if you can.
Immunity challenge is they have to balance on like barrels of water, and Courtney wins.
Oh, it's not even close either.
Courtney is an individual immunity winner.
Challenge Beast.
Challenge Beast Courtney Yates.
And then, side note for my Jeff watch, which we usually do in one big dunk at the end of the episode, but John Robert's like, Jeff, I don't think my barrel is weighted correctly. And then Jeff goes, John Robert, glad you're still here. We always need someone to complain. Oh my God. Brutal.
So Jean Robert goes on a idol hunt during the night, and he finds the plaque, the fake ones. Is it Jamie all over again? He tells Eric, and he's just like, yeah, guess what, Eric? I got the idol. And Eric's like, pretty sure you don't. James
I've been through this once already.
James has got him, and John Robert's face just falls.
It looked like an anime where, like, the color just literally drains from his face, mouth agape, just, like, suspended in the water, just, oh, dang. Whoa.
So Jean Robert, he confronts James, denies everything. Yeah, deny.
Good
Deny.
I was so impressed with James, because John Robert's like, I know you have the idols, bro. You can tell me. And he's like, I don't know who's been talking to you, but they're wrong. Tell you what, if I find 2 idols, I'll give you one of them. Good on James. I loved it.
And then Jean Robert is like, hey, Todd, we should get James out. Todd's like, yeah, sure, that sounds good. Guys, we need to get Jean Robert. He's thinking.
He can't have that.
He has thoughts.
That's exactly what I thought, because we just had Todd talking about getting rid of James, and we've got Jean Robert coming back and be like, guys, we should get rid of James. And Todd's like, excuse me, these kind of sly, backhanded, backstabbing moves, that's kind of my thing. So, like, stay in your lane, Jean Robert.
Lane, dude. So he gets James, Courtney, Frosty, and Amanda on board, even though Amanda would rather get rid of PG. Again, that's fair. Jean Robert is someone to take to the end. But for whatever reason, they're going on with this plan. They decide not to tell Denise. Why? Why exclude her like that?
It didn't make any sense, because Denise didn't have any reason to keep Jean Robert around. I mean, other than the fact that Jean Robert is someone that she can theoretically beat. But at this point in the game, I think that there's still enough up in the air where at least include your alliance.
It doesn't make much sense. And it ends up being 5 votes for Jean Robert, 3 votes for James, Jean Robert, PG, and Eric all vote for James. And then Denise votes for PG because no one told her the plan changed. Why not take out James? He's got 2 idols. Why not? Jean Robert's not wrong here. This is a good move.
Well, and Todd wasn't wrong when he suggested it at the beginning of the episode. I can see where you maybe don't want to take out James now because maybe he's still, like, not feeling super trustworthy. So, like, if you start to have those conversations that are very sneaky, maybe he just pulls out an idol, especially because he was just I don't want to say, like, his character was attacked, but his position in the game was attacked by Jean Robert. He might be more on edge to play his idols now, and so it's like, okay, you confronted him about his idols, Jean Robert, you idiot, now we can't vote him out this time. So get rid of Jean Robert, try it again next time. I think the timing makes sense. I actually think that the Majority Alliance should have probably gone with Amanda's idea to vote out PG. Just keep whittling away. If you're in a good position in your majority, you can just keep doing it. I'm fine with Jean Robert. I'd be more fine with James. I'd be most fine with PG.
Okay. I think that's a fair order. I don't really have anything against Jean Robert going here. Just, it goes back to not being able to trust something that Jean Robert might try to put together. You might be at the bad end of what might come next from him.
And
so,
one thing I will say is I think all of Fei Long can still win the game with Jean Robert going home. So, I always like to rank everybody from who can win them, who's most likely to win, the least likely to win. I have PG as last now, and I don't think PG can win, and she was not part of this vote, so, can't hold it against her either way. The tricky part is I think this is one of the trickiest ones to figure out, because one of Eric, Court, and Denise cannot win the game as well, because that's the next tier up. And I'm not really sure how that would break out, who would win of those three. One of those three cannot win. I'm not sure which. It's close.
And that's the tough thing. That's the only thing that's keeping me from thinking that it's perfectly fine to send Jean Robert home, because my reasoning of it's fine, send him home because at least he's not going to come for you next. That works for the people at the top. For the people at the bottom, you want to keep Jean Robert around. So for those people that you're mentioning, along with PG, this is bad for them. Mm-hmm. And it's enough people to where it's a move that you might need to think twice about and go against the main group of people with.
This is why I think James should go, because I don't think James is at the top of the pecking order. I think it's Todd, and that's just because he's so good at talking.
But he's got two idols.
But James has two idols. You got to get that out of here. Unless it's, if Jean Robert had two idols, maybe it's a different story. You just work with that guy till the end. But James has got two idols, and James is fairly likable. He has some enemies, like PG doesn't like him. Courtney's a little with him. But, he could still win easily.
I think I'd feel better about a James vote here then.
Yeah,
ultimately. And then Jean Robert next, after he's feeling all high and mighty about taking out James, just be like, and now you're gone too.
Derek, who did you have for best player?
So I actually had Eric, and it was because he told Jean Robert about the idol information, called him out, and said, James has two idols. Go look at it. Go figure it out yourself. Because ultimately, no Jean Who members going home right now is the best thing. Like, yeah, it'd be great if you get rid of James. It's a big threat. It's good for everybody. But I do think that a net positive overall is much better for Jean Who by getting rid of someone like Jean Robert, because Jean Robert is a part of the Majority Alliance. You're one member closer. And the fact that he did that because he had the bond and he called him out and he gave the information at the right time to the right person, who knows what happens now? It's not ultimately going to work out. Spoilers. But I still love the move.
I agree completely. It's Eric. He caused a ton of chaos in the Fei Long Alliance, and that is what he needs right now.
And I do want to give an honorable mention, this is a small one, to Amanda for being like, I think that we should go for PG, but not fighting too hard about it when everyone decided. Don't swim against the current.
Sure.
So I just wanted to honorable mention that, but Eric.
How about worst player?
Todd, because I think that, and this was based on the edit, we're going to find that Jean Robert made this threat to Amanda and Todd. But you've just made a jury enemy, and you didn't really need to do that, especially when there was a better move for you in voting out James. He didn't play an idol. You could have got him gone. And also now Jean Who, no one went home. It's going to be harder to keep people from swinging now. So I had Todd. I said he was too impulsive.
I agree, because he was telling people his plans for his challenge. Oh, we didn't talk about this because it doesn't matter too much, but he was arguing with James about how much food he was eating.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Eliminating Jean Robert, I think, was the wrong move for Todd, and then not telling Denise for some reason. Why make an enemy like that? I mean, it's going to work out for Todd, but this was not a good episode for him. And that happens. Episode 9, Just Don't Eat the Apple. James walks over everyone and goes, "Good morning to you! Good morning to you!" Why are you doing that? Why are you waking everybody up so early, James?
It's so what someone with two idols in their back pocket in the Majority Alliance, not thinking he's in any danger. It's exactly what someone like that would do.
Now, no one seems to be mad at him about it.
I think Amanda even said, like, time to get up.
Is he just happy that Jean Robert's gone?
It could be that.
Well, because Courtney immediately sits up and goes, guys, Jean Robert's gone. It's a new day. Isn't it great?
So it's going to be fine for James. I'm just like, but why? Why would you do that?
It was funny, especially because we were getting all over Crazy Dave's case, letting them remerge for doing stuff similar to this.
Denise is angry about the vote, rightfully so, but James goes to work on winning her back over because, you know, they're pretty close. So James does like a lot of good work in winning her back over. And you know who's not winning people back over is PG. She's just annoying everybody, especially yours truly. I'm not a fan of PG, I will be honest. She annoys me greatly.
Yeah, she didn't bother me as much in the post-merge. I do think that if you want to win Survivor, you need to have more of a fluid attitude. Like, I don't understand why you're being such a stick in the mud when someone not in your alliance just went home.
If you're acting entitled about being taken on rewards and stuff,
yeah.
Unless someone has made you a promise, then, and that's not even being entitled, that's just blowing up someone's game, which is fine. But when you're acting really entitled about being not chosen to be on rewards, that rubs me the wrong way. So, We also have a showmance happening between Courtney and Frosty. That's fun.
And there's kind of out of left field.
And it does make people uncomfortable because, like, is Courtney willing to vote out Frosty? So, showmances are bad, guys.
Yeah, and it's a fair concern, especially because Frosty does have ties to Jean Hu. Even though he's done enough to show that he is a legitimate swing vote, but the fact that he can go either way, Amanda can't really do that. No. Todd can't really do that.
Also, Frosty does parkour. He's dangerous.
Yes. So dangerous.
So Amanda, Courtney, Eric, and Frosty all win reward. And they all get to go on a cruise down the river. And Eric works his social game like nobody's business. Everyone is in love with Eric.
And he can do a goat call.
Perfectly.
Perfectly. Like, he could do that on TikTok nowadays and probably pull 2 million likes.
So really, really good stuff from Eric.
Yeah.
He's just a nice guy.
We even get, like, a little bit of flirtation between, like, him and Amanda, too. Like, you can tell he's just working everything. And she's like, you know what? I do kind of want to keep him around for as long as I can. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how to play the social game.
You know, if you're a nice, fun person to be around, people will be more inclined to keep you. It's the wrong move. But, you know, people are starving out there. They're getting annoyed with everyone. If they like you, if you're fun to be around, why not keep them? But don't do it. Don't
might
do
make
it.
an extra vote or two.
I'm telling you not to keep them. You want to surround yourself with people who are miserable to be around. It's going to suck for 39 days. Oh, well, you're going to win $1 million. You got to vote out the Erics as much fun as they are to be around. But after the reward challenge, PG and James get into a big fight because PG kind of blames James for the loss. They're just like yelling at each other. It's like, oh, this is good call, guys.
I put more of the blame on PG.
Oh, yeah,
because
definitely.
James was just kind of like laying in the shelter. Now, granted, James has gotten on PG's case in the past for not pulling her weight at challenges. So we kind of have this full arc coming back around where now PG's like, who's the screw up in challenges now? Okay, but it's different. You were literally throwing a challenge, PG. You and James both struggled with this ball bouncing thing, which by the way, why'd you pick James? I think Frosty was the easy first overall draft pick for this challenge, but I digress.
You pick a dexterity-based challenge. Shocker, James is not the most dexterous person.
Yeah, would you pick James for a balancing challenge? Probably not if Frosty's available.
James didn't win a single immunity challenge this entire season. There's more to it than just raw strength, so yeah, I don't know.
We digress.
We digress.
PG, you did this to yourself.
Memory immunity challenge. James, Todd, Courtney, and Denise all sit out to eat. If you know you're safe, I don't mind.
The only thing, I think if you're a little bit deeper in the game and there's someone who needs to go home, you need to compete. I would chastise and berate everyone who sits out. But we've got, 8 people left, and you kind of have your pick of the litter for who you want to vote out next. Like, there might be preference, but it's splitting hairs. Eat food if you want. Let them eat burgers.
Yes.
And in James's case, let him eat 7 burgers.
It also definitely helps that you know where the idols are.
Yeah.
You have multiple options, and none of them are going to be getting idols here.
PG ends up winning immunity. So Eric, Frosty, and even Courtney are on the block because people don't know if they can trust Courtney. They don't know if she'll vote out Frosty. So they all like, hey, Courtney, are you willing to vote out Frosty? Because people are saying that you're not. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'll vote out Frosty. It's fine. You have to.
Yeah.
I'm glad she realized it. Tribal Council, 7 votes for Frosty, 1 vote Eric. Why not James?
This is where I'm surprised that it didn't happen.
He's got 2 idols.
Like you can make an argument for Jean Robert, the previous episode. I don't know what the argument here is for Frosty. Yeah, you're testing Courtney, but you can test her after this.
I think the biggest argument is that you just went out of your way to vote out a member of your own alliance. knowingly keeping Frosty, who does have docks or ports on both land. You get it. Solidify Courtney in your alliance, handcuff her to you by getting rid of Frosty. I think it's a fine move. I think James is also a fine move, but I think the further you get away from Jean Robert calling James out for having an idol, the less he's going to think about it. But you're cutting it close. I do think I would prefer James' side of the fence this time around because he can pretty much get himself down to final 5 at this point if he wants to.
If James wins one immunity challenge from here on out, he's golden.
Which, let's be real, the odds of him winning one are high.
Yes.
So I would have preferred to see a pull for James.
Yeah, I understand the reasoning behind like wanting to space it out from Jean Robert, but I think it's not even really close, just because the further you get away from that, the closer you get to him just having a cakewalk to the end.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think you have to move it up one episode and do it now instead.
We get a big cliffhanger. We're not going back to camp. You guys are staying at Tribal Council. Whoa, what? And that's the episode ends.
It was really weird. I didn't really like it.
Yeah,
I always get annoyed when Survivor ends on cliffhangers like this. It's one of the few shows that still works as an episodic sequence. Let's just do that. I hate this. The last time we did this was with like Suri
and Danielle going to fire.
Yeah. Hated it then, still hate it now. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't like it. It takes the flow away, I think. For best player, I had Eric for his stellar social game and surviving the vote. It was either going to be him or Frosty, and Eric made it through.
Yeah, it's Eric. Eric's the GOAT.
Very nice. Worst player, I had Courtney for her showmance with Frosty and not voting out James. That's what everyone should have done.
And I actually had James for getting snippy with a bunch of people at camp, particularly letting PG get under his skin a little bit. And I forgive Courtney a little bit because when they're like, hey, would you vote out Frosty? She's like, oh, yeah, that's fine. So whatever negative for her being tied to Frosty, I give her the positive for cutting ties and just going with the flow because that's kind of her game now is not going against the current. So I respected enough for that, and I landed on James.
Yeah, I'm going to side with Derek on this one, because as much as I don't really care for Courtney, props to her for being able to cut ties there.
Fair enough. Episode 10 is the recap episode. All right, moving on.
Who cares?
Episode 11, Ready to Bite the Apple. The big cliffhanger is like, we're going to have a reward challenge right away at Tribal Council.
This is the wrong way to do a cliffhanger. At least make it important. I thought we were going for like an immediate vote out. Wouldn't that be crazy? Nope, just some reward challenge.
PG wins, takes Eric and Denise on reward. Denise is the right choice to try and make some flippy-floppy moves.
Yeah, because, I mean, when you win a reward, and especially when you're in the Minority Alliance, pick the people who are most likely to fracture. I think Denise is your weak spot, so go for it. There's a cool reward, by the way. Shaolin Temple? I love that.
Yep. So Todd, Amanda, James, and Courtney, they all make a Final Four deal. That's going to last a super long time. Amanda's like, I don't want to actually go through with this Final Four. Yeah, that's fair. Because guess what? You're going to lose to at least 2 of these people, probably. She might be able to beat James, maybe, but you're not going to beat Todd. We get a Ninja Star immunity challenge, which I love. Throwing Ninja Stars. And Eric wins. It's cool. I love this. The challenges in the season are so good. They're just like super on theme. China's got great challenges.
I love all the firecrackers.
So Eric wins immunity, and here we go. Josh, you're a memorability consultant.
Ah, yes.
You always tell us what is, in your mind, the most memorable moment of each season.
That I do.
I have a sneaky suspicion this one might be a finalist.
It might be a finalist.
Might be.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
What are you guys talking about?
Amanda pulls together Todd, Courtney, and Denise with a plan to take out James. Here we go. One of the most infamous moves in all of Survivor. It's glorious. PG approaches Amanda and is like, hey, you should vote out James. Thanks, PG. Don't do anything, PG. Stop. Just don't do anything.
Let it happen.
Act like you're going home. Don't do anything. But no, PG, don't do anything. Do not mess this up for me. But PG's got a really good idea. Hey, they're voting for James, which is great. But if he does play his idol, why don't we vote for Todd? Get him out of the game instead. It's a great idea. Why doesn't Eric go along with it?
He didn't?
No, he votes for James. So James is not going to play his idols. He's going to go home here. It's going to be 5 votes for James, 1 for Todd, 1 for PG. James plays his idol. We're tied. 1 vote Todd, 1 vote PG. Everyone's going to knock out PG. Eric, if you just throw in your vote on Todd and then James plays his idol, just in case you get Todd out of the game.
You know, I thought long and hard about why Eric voted for James. And I think because he had made some headway with Amanda, with Courtney, with Denise socially, it was saying, look, I'm not here to take Todd out until you're ready to take him out. Meanwhile, maybe Amanda and Courtney are also thinking, I'd rather go to the end with an Eric than a Todd. So just trying to keep options open. That being said, you're still in dire straits, buddy. You should have thrown your vote on Todd.
Yes.
I get why you did it.
But you shouldn't have.
But you shouldn't have. It was not the best for you, I don't think.
Is there any long-term play here for PG and Eric to inform James about this and get out Todd?
You could cause some chaos.
Because he would play his idol, and then you'd be able to get out Todd, and then you could just get out James. Well, probably 2 times from then, because he'd probably play his idol again.
What
the
if
next
James
time.
wins immunity?
True.
Too risky.
And that's where you have to weigh who's more likely to win. Is it someone like Todd or is it someone like James?
True.
Don't know.
And I'll talk more about this when we get to best and worst player of the episode, if you don't mind.
Okay, but James does not play his idols. He goes home with 2 in his pocket, and it's beautiful.
Oh, that moment at the end of the episode in his confessional when he just holds both of them up.
I got 2 idols, and
I got 2 idols.
Oh, LOL.
Props, though. What a good sport. He's like, you know what? I just got too comfortable. That's on me. I love how introspective he was, because meanwhile you got Jean Robert just being angry and self-centric and egocentric, and then you got James like, wow, my bad.
Whoops.
Derek, who do you have your best player?
I had Amanda because she organized the James vote and did enough to pull it off correctly. I also like the subtle thing that she did by telling PG. I think that if you have a strong enough social connection with someone where you can trust them and wink at them and be like, literally wink and be like, don't do anything, we pull in a fast one, that builds goodwill for possibly a jury vote down the road. So ultimately, I give Amanda all the credit in the world for every which way that this move went down.
I 100% agree. You could have said it better myself. Wait, you couldn't have said it better myself? You could not have said it better myself. Yeah,
I like it.
I'm going to stand by that weird statement I just said.
Brand new sentence.
Agreed.
Yeah, this movie's iconic. Amanda just deserves all the credit for it. It's fantastic. How about worst player?
I actually have none, because I think that James going home is the best thing for literally everybody. Josh, you just suggested, why not like PG and Eric go and blow this up? Because I think it'd be really easy for James Alliance to go to James and be like, we didn't tell them anything. We happen to know that like they've been bragging about like searching your bag and, oh, look, he found the idol. So they may have been right, but we were never going to betray you. They're just being super paranoid. Don't eat the apple. And then he'd be like, that's what I said. I'm not going to eat the apple. So like, yeah, you cause chaos. He plays an idol just in case. And then Eric and PG go home anyway. So James going home is the right move for everybody left in the game. Everything went down perfectly. Eric won immunity to save himself. PG did not blow it up and she had the social tie with Amanda. Amanda did great. Everyone did great. Everything is awesome. And we get one of the most iconic moves in Survivor history. So no bad players here for me.
We can't give it to James because he was voted out. There's no one else to give it to. I did have a little criticism of Eric, but he won immunity. And again, this ultimately is a good move for him. Maybe you could talk about, throwing votes on Todd instead. And I don't think I would have been upset if they had done that. And if they had told James to play the idol. But regardless, James is out of the game. The idols are out of the game. Mm-hmm. That's huge. So I have none.
It makes sense to me. And to be fair, my exploration of PG and Eric going to James, I ultimately agree that the end result of that would probably be James confronting his alliance, and it would just be overall a bad experience for PG and Eric.
What would be silly is if Eric and PG didn't consider it. We didn't get it on camera, but that's not the focal point of the episode.
No.
Keep the edit on James.
Yep.
So I bet they explored it and they came to the same conclusion we did, that, this is good for everybody.
Yeah. Now, James is going to play again. Do we want to see it?
Oh, please, yes. I don't think he's very good at Survivor. So from a gameplay perspective, I don't know that he has a ton to add. As a character, I adore him. He only had the one cringy moment with Jean Robert, which I attribute more to Jean Robert and like, what do you do when you're put into a social situation with someone who's cringy? Yeah, in 2021, in public, you call him out, but on Survivor, like, you have to try and be amenable as much as you can. So it's like, it's hard to figure out where to slice that. But give me James.
Yeah, I agree. Echoing the exact same thing, that I don't expect him to do a whole lot, but I hope to be as entertained by him as the first time around.
He's one of the funniest people on a season full of funny people.
Nothing made me smile more than seeing James smile at things.
Yeah, James laughing and smiling is wholesome.
It's
great.
infectious.
Yeah. James is great. Bring him back. Episode 12, going for the Oscar. Family Reward Challenge visit. Todd's sister shows up and informs Todd his other sister has had a miscarriage. Paging Johnny Fairplay. Paging Johnny Fairplay.
At least that's what they think is happening.
Yeah, it turns out this is 100% true. Courtney and Eric don't believe it, and, kind of call out the fact that, is Todd lying? This is a little uncomfortable. Like, even if I suspected that it wasn't true, I don't think I would say it to the camera, I think, on this one, just because it's like, ooh, this is dicey.
It's so tricky.
Yeah.
I think that you can propose it as a possibility and not accuse.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it came across really accusatory.
Well, Courtney said it, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
And even Eric is like, guys, I don't believe him.
And even Amanda was kind of like, it did seem like he was just trying to get a little bit of sympathy. So this kind of turned into a social point, like a thing that people were kind of awkwardly bonding over. It's like no one knew when to stop talking about it. And I don't think anyone really wanted, and it's not going to go anywhere.
No.
This is kind of a dead end, but they had to leave it in because Courtney did a callback to Johnny Fairplay. She said, hilariously to me, at least dead grandma was funny. I can forgive someone for that.
Good old Courtney. Yeah, and Todd even acknowledges later, like they're talking about it, like they probably think I'm faking. Like I'm not, but they probably think it. So at least Todd is aware enough to know how this could come across. Yeah, tricky, real tricky. Like you want to know, but people can paint you in a bad light. So Johnny Fairplay ruined it for everybody.
If there's a lesson to be learned, it's if the news isn't really bad and you're on the loved one's visit, you probably don't want to give that news. Who am I to tell you what you do know and don't want to know? I'm not here to say that, but just know that just like swearing on a loved one, it can be used against you, true or untrue. The best of intentions can be punished in Survivor.
Absolutely. So be careful. There's nothing we can really consult on with stuff like this. It's just like, be careful.
This is where the fundamentals break down.
Yeah.
There's no way to quantify this analysis.
Yeah. There's only so much we can do. Sometimes the human factor is too much.
Don't have any loved ones to bring.
Denise wins reward, takes Amanda and Todd with, do not win the family visit. You piss people off. We said it. I've said it. Have I not said this?
You said it first, you said it loudest, but we've all been saying it. The thing, I guess in this one it'd be pretty easy just to get lost blindfolded in the maze and everything is fine.
Yeah, just just walk the wrong direction on purpose and you'll lose. This was a maze, blindfold maze. Just walk the wrong way.
I do think that the people who could have been hurt most by this are the people who did not win. Because, Denise winning didn't really affect her standing in the game at all. With the chess pieces that matter on the board, in my opinion, what was done was okay.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anybody. Just, not great. Todd and Amanda plan to knock Denise out at 4 and take Courtney to the end. Wow. Spoiler alert.
We're talking about Final 3.
Wow, they just told us exactly what's going to happen. Wow.
It happens sometimes.
PG ends up winning immunity. And Eric is like, hey, guys, we should take out Todd because he'll win. Yeah.
Please.
That's a great pitch.
That's the best pitch.
Help me help you.
It's not going to happen, though. It's going to be 4 votes for Eric, 2 votes for Todd. And it's so great because Denise is really the swing vote here because she has the opportunity to tie this up, change up the game completely. And she's hemming and hawing, and she goes to vote, and she votes for Eric. And she's like, this is probably the biggest mistake I'm going to make in the game. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It very much is. The fact that you can call it out as it's happening.
Denise needs to get rid of Todd and eventually go to the end with Courtney and PG. That's her best shot of winning.
Agreed.
You take out Todd, you take out Amanda, you take out Eric. It doesn't really matter the order. They all got to go. Go to the end with Courtney and PG. I don't know for sure if Denise would win.
That's her best
It's
bet.
your better shot.
She's the most liked of those 3, but will people get annoyed with her playing kind of the poor me card?
Or will they fall in love with the underdog story?
Yeah.
There's always that possibility.
I know I would not vote for Denise. If you play the pity me card at Final Shop Council, you will not get my vote.
And it didn't seem like she wanted to do that.
Even though she did a lot before.
I think she realized her options were slim and just went all in on it.
Yeah, we don't get like kind of a pity me party until like push comes to shove and she's at Final 4. And at that point, I'm not mad if you try basically anything.
You could try basically anything, but if you try it at Final Tribal Council, you will not get my vote.
Sure, yeah.
And
a lobby to keep me, I like it as a move. I would not respect it as a juror sitting on a stool.
I don't care what your life is like back home. I care about the game.
And so it's like, I do care about what your life is like back home, but that's not why I'm here. And
as a juror, I don't care about that.
It's kind of like if you're sitting there on like a murder trial and you hear about this person's like really tough past. That's not what's on.
Sorry, you still killed someone.
That's not what's on trial right now.
Like if I'm on the jury and Bill Gates has made it to the end, and he played the best game, I'd vote for Bill Gates. Like I don't care how much money you make. I'm here to reward the person who played the best.
Yeah,
whoever that is. So yeah, Denise annoys me in these last couple episodes when she's playing. Like I get what she's trying to do, and she's trying anything she can, but it's still annoying.
And we're at 6 here, so if they're able to split it with Todd and who was their other target?
Eric?
Or Todd, yeah, if they had Todd and Eric, it would go to Rox then, right?
Yeah, so it would go to Rox, so Todd and Eric would be safe, and then who won immunity? PG. Wow, works out really good for Jean Hu. So Denise, Courtney, and Amanda would draw Rox, and Denise would have to hope Amanda goes out there. Anyways, the point is it should have been Todd. Or it should have been a tie and then knock out. But actually, Amanda and Courtney, at least Courtney should have gone with the plan. How about this? PG, Eric, Denise, and Courtney all team up to take out Todd. That's the best move here.
Todd is the best move.
You got to start moving on the biggest threats.
Best player is Todd. He wasn't voted out, and he should have been. That's all I have.
I just had PG because she did save herself. Based on the way the votes fell, Eric would have stayed before PG. The fact that PG won, she won and stayed in. If the majority alliance was going to make the wrong move by not getting out Todd at this point, they were going to make the wrong move onto PG, so I like the fact that she saved herself.
Not only did they not vote for Todd, but they also did not vote for anyone else in that alliance, so I'm going to go with Todd.
He convinced pretty much everybody else to make a move that wasn't in their best interest, especially Denise and Courtney. Maybe a little bit less so Amanda, but even still, Amanda loses to Todd. So, worst player, I had Denise. She won the family visit, bad, didn't take out Todd, and is going to lose the game.
My biggest thing is that unless something wild happens, Denise can no longer win the game in a Final 3 scenario. It's hard to say there's a chance, but she most likely, in my eyes, cannot win because I think in a Final 3 with Courtney and Eric wins.
Eric, maybe. Again, the only thing the problem Eric and PG face is they don't have those early game connections because the only person they were on a tribe with that's still here or are on the jury before the merge is James. James doesn't really like them.
So, like, Denise still has
she still has a chance.
But it's much smaller than it was before. You should have played the odds game, gone to Rox, 66% chance. It's not you. You have a big move now that you can call your own, and if it works out, every time it goes to Rox, it's memorable. You gotta do it now. The prize money between 4 and 6 is not that much.
Episode 13, hello, I'm still a person. Reward challenge. So this was kind of a fun reward challenge. They each started out with 5 arrows. They got to give arrows to the other players. You gave all 5 of your arrows to somebody else. You couldn't keep any of them for yourself. So you gave them to whoever you wanted. And then however many arrows they get, that's how many attempts you get to just fire the bow and arrow. So PG gets 1 arrow.
Better make it count.
1 shot. Denise
don't throw it away.
She did throw away her shot.
Denise gets 2, Amanda gets 4, Todd gets 6, Courtney gets 12. Now Todd does really well. 5 of his 6 arrows connect.
On his name.
Todd was a beast at this. Unfortunately, Courtney has 12 arrows and gives the challenge to Denise.
And I fully believe this was entirely coincidental.
Yeah.
I feel like she was just like, hey, look, a big old target. Boing.
So Denise wins reward.
Yeah.
Thanks to Courtney. She ends up picking Courtney and Todd to go on reward. That's fair. See, okay. So I want to talk about reward challenges here a little bit. I always say, not great to win them sometimes, especially if you're on the top. You're just going to piss people off. Denise didn't really win this one.
She had 0 control over it.
Now what do? You pick the girl who gave you the reward, Courtney, and you pick the guy who hit almost all of his shots, Todd. Yeah, what else are you going to do, Denise?
I mean, is there a benefit here of taking PG and trying to see if you can just corral the 3 of you together into one unifying vote?
Courtney and PG?
Like, it's super obvious what you're trying to do, and it could completely blow up anything you have with your current alliance, but you're so far in the game where that's a difference of 1 vote at this point.
Josh, you are 2 seconds ahead of me because that was exactly what note I took. why bring Todd?
Okay.
Todd, everyone knows, like, here's the thing. Because Todd wears his game on his sleeve, like, I'm schemy, I'm plotty, I will do the thing, I will backstab you, I don't care.
And that's why I love him.
I love him too. Stop working with him. Stop working with him. There is no penalty for going 3 against 2 and voting Todd out. And guess who would go along with you right now? Amanda, because she doesn't like to fight the current. Bring PG. And then I'd fight whether or not it would be like Courtney, but you have to bring Courtney because she gifted you. I get that because she would be super salty. She's an emotional player. This might make her feel good. So bring Courtney, bring PG. We're a final 3. Let's take out these other 2 who have played one heck of a strong game. And let's get to the end. Okay.
And if you
we
get
have
all
the best chances against each other.
If you get all 3 together, it might end up being a 4-1 vote here if Amanda hops on.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? I think you guys have won me over. I think you might be right.
Hooray!
So it was a missed opportunity. I do think Denise's mistake, what would have been like yesterday or the previous tribal council is bigger, but it's just kind of adding to a list of things that Denise just didn't spot.
Yeah.
That she could have done.
So while not on a reward, Amanda and PG finally connect for the first time. This is bad. Really, I mean, on both of them, but especially Amanda. Like, you need to connect with these people before you vote them out. Otherwise, they're not going to vote for you at the end. So this is a flaw in Amanda's game, I think. She should have connected with PG a long time ago. Just have something. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the reward trip is a trip to the Great Wall. It's the food is fondue. They have to make it themselves, and it kind of upsets their stomach. Then they were bringing some food from the thing back with them.
Oh, this is so cringy.
And apparently Todd ate it all on the plane. We don't see this happen. But Denise tells Amanda, like, yeah, Todd ate all the food we were bringing back. Whoops. And then Courtney and Todd kind of complained about the whole food situation. Like, yeah, we had to make it ourselves. It kind of upset my stomach. Dude.
What do you think we had to do back at camp? Make our own damn food?
There's one thing to, like, talk too much about how great the reward was, but if you start saying, like, yeah, the reward sucked.
Don't complain about a reward.
Dude, not good.
No.
The best thing you can do is be as honest as you can without rubbing it in. Like, yeah, you know what? Don't go into, like, all the savory details about the delicious food you had, but be like, yeah, this is what we did, fondue. It was interesting. I've never done fondue before. That was fun.
It was good and fun.
It was good and fun, and seeing the wall is exactly how you imagined it.
And we're done.
Yep.
So we get one of my favorites, the single elimination immunity challenge. Just one by one, y'all get eliminated. Highlight: Denise can't eat the balut. Still can't do it.
There are 2 highlights. The possibility of Courtney needing to cut something with a machete again.
She doesn't get there.
She doesn't get that far, but she has a comment for Jeff. Just, oh, really? You can't be serious. And then the balut.
Yes. Amanda ends up winning. Tribal Council is 4 votes for PG, 1 vote for Todd. Vote out Todd!
Why not Todd?
PG can't win. Keep her in, go to the end with her, and take out Todd.
Like, I understand that there's a lot of Jean Hu members on the jury now.
There's 3.
Yeah, so there's a lot.
Okay.
That's 3 of 7. So, like, yeah, PG has these connections. But you still need to take out the biggest threats as soon as possible. I think Todd now, and then try PG again. The one thing that PG has going for her is that she's won a couple times now. I think PG's an easy second choice if Todd were to have won immunity. But
if Todd won immunity, you take out Amanda. Todd and Amanda have to go for any of the other 3 have to have
any of the other 3 to have a realistic shot at winning. I agree.
PG goes out. Courtney and Denise can no longer win the game.
Yeah.
It's over for both of them. They've lost the game. Todd and Amanda beat both of them.
Now, have they?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Because, Todd obviously.
Yeah.
Amanda, she played a really strategic game. Her one flaw, really, is she comes off a little bit disingenuous. But I think enough people on that jury would respect that. Hey, at least she was playing.
The only reason I bring that up is because, let's say you just boot Todd and you have Denise, Amanda, and Courtney. In the actual final scenario, Courtney got more votes.
Yes, but that's because Todd was there.
I think because Todd and Amanda played, like, kind of the same game, but everyone just respected the way that Todd did it better.
All of his votes would just go to her, probably.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
At least enough to get 4. That was my thought, anyway.
Derek, who do you have for best player?
I had Amanda for not going home.
Yeah, she made peace with PG and she won immunity.
Yeah. And we have to remember what was bad on Amanda was not connecting with PG until that point. But making the best of a bad situation, not going on that reward, and connecting with PG now, better late than never, and I'm glad to see it.
Drop her in now.
Yes.
The best thing she can do is make the connection.
Yes.
Should have done it earlier, but we're past that. We're talking about this episode.
Yes.
It's Amanda. I have a worse player.
I have Courtney for being the loudest and most flagrant perpetrator of complaining about a perfectly good reward. Like, yeah, Todd ate the food on the plane. That's not so good. But I felt like Courtney was getting on people's nerves about the whole thing a lot more. And it was just her, as she calls it, winning personality. Her winsome personality was just shining a little too brightly.
And she can no longer win the game. That's important.
So
Todd can.
So even though Denise also can't win the game, you have Courtney's bad attitude to go along with.
Courtney pissed people off. Denise really didn't.
Yeah.
So much. I mean, I guess PG was kind of mad at her for not bringing her on a reward, but I think Courtney is worse than Denise.
I was like, Denise did choose the not quite optimal combination of people, so not against her.
That is a knock against her. Not enough to go below Courtney in my opinion.
I agree.
Okay.
But we can all agree, though, that either voting out Todd or Amanda was the best move for the most number of people. Obviously, that didn't happen. So everyone who didn't do that, marks against.
Yes. PG, we're going to see play again. Do we want to see it?
It's hard. I say yeah. She bugged a lot of people. She did not bug me. I thought we had a healthy dose of PG. And if you want to go ahead and add vinegar to baking soda every now and again, I'm okay with it. She didn't get on my nerves. Here to say it. Hot take. I'm happy to see her again.
Yeah, the first time that I watched, I didn't really have anything against her. It was more just, yeah, she's there. I'm not sure why she's necessarily chosen to come back, but I'm not against it by any means.
I am. She's annoying.
Shocker.
I don't want her back.
If PG was annoying, then Courtney was super annoying.
Dude, I love Courtney.
Yeah, that's where I don't align here with Ryan.
See, here's the difference. Courtney's funny.
Courtney she's a roller coaster. So
she has funny moments.
You got high highs and low lows. PG was kind of just a consistent where she had moments, but she was also on a tribe with like Crazy Dave. And
yeah, she was consistent negative.
She was fine. She was fine.
I'd say she's probably my least favorite cast member on the season.
Interesting.
I'd put her last, I think.
I don't know. Maybe John Robert.
As a person, yeah. John Robert getting dunked on made this season just spectacular. This season would not be the same without John Robert.
It's fair.
All right, finale. A slippery little sucker. We're here. Final four. Reward challenge for food. Jeff tells them, like, hey, guys, it's just a serving for one. You definitely won't get screwed over by winning this reward. Amanda wins. Hey, Amanda, guess what? You can either keep it all for yourself, pick one person, or pick two people.
But not three.
Good luck. She ends up picking Todd, which I think was the worst possible choice.
She could have done this any which way except splitting it 4 ways. Sure. She did the worst possible thing she could have done.
Pick nobody? Okay, fine. It's a level playing field. Pick two. I think, either do that or pick two people, Denise and Courtney. You don't pick Todd.
Don't pick only one person. Yeah.
Pick two, exclude one person, Todd, and then take him out because he'll be weak in the next challenge. Boom.
And in fact, I think that all of her choices are net-net. Because if you go on your own, you're leaving 3 people to conspire against you. Don't do that. So you need to take someone. Okay, cool. We've eliminated the possibility for 0. Don't take Todd, because now you're, again, leaving 2 people who already felt kind of on the outs to conspire against you and maybe force a fire-making. Bad plan. Also, Todd is your biggest competitor. Maybe you want to take a moment to align with the other 2 because you can beat Denise and Courtney. Take Denise and Courtney. This is easy. There's only one net positive, Amanda, and you didn't take it.
And out of all the negatives, she picked the worst one.
Yep.
Overall, I wouldn't have had an issue with her eating alone either. I do think that taking both Denise and Courtney is the best option, but I think eating alone is number 2.
So Todd tries to scheme and plot with Amanda, and then they get back to camp, and he schemes and plots with Denise, and Courtney overhears all of this, and it's like, hey, Amanda, Todd is scheming and plotting with Denise.
Shocker.
Hey, maybe you guys should vote out Todd.
This would be a good plan.
Hey, Derek, guess what?
What?
It's your favorite part of every Survivor season.
Oh.
Fallen comrades. And we're done.
And we're done.
Final immunity challenge. We're stacking dishes. I would be horrifically bad at this challenge.
Yeah.
I have very shaky hands, so anything like this, I could not do this challenge. Denise and Amanda are the final 2 left in the challenge. Denise is trying to make a deal. Amanda's like, no, let's just fight it out, Denise. Come on. Denise, you're in trouble.
I'm in danger.
That is what we call a red flag.
Amanda wins. Amanda's going to the final tribal council.
By the way, good on Denise for trying to negotiate. I want to give her credit. This is the part where we're gonna see the sympathy card. Yeah. We're gonna see the give me your word that you're not gonna betray me. We're gonna see the wheeling and dealing live at the challenge. everything Denise is doing right now is great. Too little, too late.
Yep.
You've had plenty of opportunities in the last 6 days, and you've squandered all of them.
Yeah.
Amanda's kind of wishy-washy about voting out Denise or Todd. She guarantees Denise that she's not going to vote for her. Why would you do that?
Terrible.
I need to think about it, Denise. I'm not going to guarantee you anything. Something like that. Or, but what she should be doing is just voting out Todd.
It should honestly be that easy.
Yeah.
And it's things like these why it makes sense why she only got one vote. Yeah. Like, if you do things like saying, I guarantee you I'm not writing your name down tonight, proceeds to write name down tonight.
Yeah, don't make that promise. A guarantee. No.
You can say I don't want to and things like that. Or I don't know.
She's trying to be everyone's friend at the end of all this.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. You need to make your moves, get to the end. If they want to be friends, great. If not, you have $1 million. Who cares? You just met these people a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
You have your own friends. You can't worry about being people's friends after the game. Now, if you're someone like Todd, who wears his, like, connivingness on his sleeve, I think you're more likely to keep your friendships because people will be like, you know what? At least he owns it.
At least I knew this was going to happen.
Especially in Modern Survivor, when people understand it's a game and they realize, wow, you know what? My humanity did get in my way. Props to you for not letting that happen. Like, you didn't step in front of that bus.
Good for you for being totally cold, ruthless killer.
Like, there's a bus called Compassion and Decency, and so many people just step in front of that bus and just get run over. Meanwhile, Todd's driving it with his feet.
He's this big old grin on his face.
Now, is there any possibility that Amanda actually does think that Denise has a shot to beat her?
Sure, the sympathy card.
Yeah, because we're talking about her, like, just going back and forth, not making a decision when she should just go straight with Todd. But does she actually think that Denise has a better shot at beating her than Todd because people would rather vote for her?
If she does, she just has a bad read on the situation, which, it's bad. You should have better reads.
This is such a weird situation because I knew nothing about the season. I didn't know who the winner was. I didn't know how this was going to go. The edit really hammed up this idea that Denise could win against Todd and Courtney and Amanda with her sympathy vote. I never got the sense that was possible because the entire season we've seen Denise left out of votes, left out of rewards, left out in challenge picks, everything. So unless there's something that I'm missing, she does not have the social power over a jury to give her $1 million. But the edit in the last 2 episodes has been all about it. And I think that Amanda did get caught up in this idea.
The one person who's super stoked on Denise is James. So maybe she got that in her head.
Yeah. And Derek, you did also, when asked what your prediction was, you did think that Amanda had a better shot versus, like, instead of Todd. Like, if both of them were going to the finals, you thought that Amanda would take it home over Todd. So that I think that also feeds into just what you were given or at least perceived in the edit.
Yeah, it's weird because now I try to like keep them unmuddled because when I was going in I was like Denise has no chance, and all of a sudden like this storyline comes out of nowhere and I'm like, edit, what are you doing? Why are you feeding me this? So like I have to, like, I can't discount it completely. In hindsight I can be like, okay, yeah, Derek had it right halfway through the post merge, but then again I kind of thought that Amanda had it, but there was also this. When we get to the winner, we can talk more about this, but I've got thoughts about what happened to Amanda.
So during the tribal council, Denise is like, Amanda said she'd have my back, and I was like, well, I mean, I didn't say that today. I said that in the past.
Oof.
And that's the sound Todd made. That was Josh's Todd impression, and yeah, Todd's like, ooh, ouch. If I'm just reacting for Denise, was that ouch. It ends up being 3 votes for Denise, 1 vote for Todd.
And $1 million mistake by Amanda.
Yep. Rip.
Because we did get that Courtney would vote with Amanda. I've got no reason not to trust the edit that Courtney would have voted
I think she
with
would've.
Amanda.
Yeah. I also loved Todd's reaction. Like, after this was all said and done, like, you know how Jeff always, like, just kind of, like, gives them a nice little, like, 1 or 2 lines before saying go back to camp. Like, the entire time they're showing all 3 of the remaining people, and Todd just has a giant grin on his face.
He looks like a guy who just won $1 million.
And I was just about to say, he had the same face that Earl had, right when you know, just, I got this. Thank you very much.
Josh, who do you have for best player?
I had Todd, because somehow he was not the person to go home, and I think that's a more calm. To be fair, it's more of a culmination of things probably across the entire season rather than just one episode, he was able to build this strong enough bond and be really candid with Amanda, especially when they were sharing their pizza, about saying, it's me and you. Like, I know you feel weird about this entire thing and you have suspicions about me, but it's me and you. And I think he did a good job at being able to kind of talk Amanda off the ledge during that conversation.
I have to give it de facto to Todd. I'm going to be honest. When I was thinking about who to put at best, I almost put nobody. And the reason is because, Josh, you already said it. It's more a culmination of Amanda and Todd's relationship through the entire game that I think ultimately saves him. If they would not have had that reward conversation where obviously Todd did enough, I would say there was no best player, because this is obviously not in Amanda's best interest. It's not in Courtney's best interest. And Todd did nothing. He did nothing to save himself. I didn't want to give out a best, but there was a sliver of a difference, and I gave it to Todd.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a great episode for Todd or great round of play.
Anybody.
not for anybody. De facto, Todd, the one thing that I will also give him credit for is throwing Amanda right under that bus at Final Tribal.
Even though he does claim in confessional that was accidental, but you know what? Sometimes people who have instincts just have instincts.
Yep. I'll say it didn't seem malicious by anything. Like, it seemed like something like I would do. Like, more like, you know how you have like secondhand embarrassment for people? Sometimes you have secondhand just reactions.
Yep.
You react for people, and it's just, that's what it felt like more than anything.
I agree, but it still helped this game.
It still helped.
How about worst player?
Do I need to say it?
Yeah, it is. This is an audio medium.
Oh, yes, I suppose. It is Amanda. I think we have said enough about why it might be, but just in case you need more reasoning, she just gave away the million.
It was Amanda.
It's Amanda because she brought Todd on reward. She guaranteed Denise she wasn't going to vote for her. Still did it and kept Todd in the game. It's Amanda. Not great. Before we get to the Final Tribal Council, I just want to... Amanda's super mad at Todd for throwing her under the bus, and I'm mad at myself, too, because I went to the end with Todd. I'm like, yeah, you should be.
That was a bad move.
Not great.
And it's tough because I feel like immediately after she made that decision, and even taking a step back, made that comment about, or comment to Denise, I feel like she just starts to spiral. And it's not good because that's not what you want heading into Final Tribal. You want to go in with confidence and really be able to sell your decisions. And it almost turns into the exact opposite for her.
Final Tribal Council. Before we get into this, I just want to say we're about to see what I think is the greatest Final Tribal performance of all time with Todd. Only other one, Chris Daughtry is up there. I think he's second. And then I would have to rewatch Winners at War and to really gauge it. But as of right now, I think this is number one. And I don't think anything comes close until season 40. This is just amazing. I think it's perfect. Opening statements, I think everyone does a pretty good job here. Amanda starts, she's like, I made an alliance early. As we got in the end game, I focused on taking out physical threats so I could win the immunity challenges, which she does. She's like, I'm sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings. This is Amanda's glowing point of this. It's all downhill from here.
And I do like how she called out specific jury members, saying these votes were not easy for me. I think that's a good way to open it. Like, just so you know, I'm thinking about you, you, and you.
Todd owns up to lying and backstabbing and asks everyone to separate the relationships and the game because the relationships were real. This is what I would like to be, like, this is what I would be saying if I was in the Final Tribal Council, like, almost word for word. And it's just like, Todd, you're so good.
And you know what's beautiful about it? All it is saying the truth. Do you want to know why you made those moves? Because you valued the game more than the personal relationships in that moment.
As you should.
And that's what you need to do to win. So if you've played the game right, all you have to do is tell the truth.
When I'm playing Monopoly or Mario Party with you two are my friends. I generally like you guys. That said, I'm putting my relationship with you guys aside to win at Mario Party. And you know what? You're mad at me for a little bit, usually, because I almost always win. But, it was a game. It was a game.
It was a game.
Yeah, we don't play Mario Party.
No, we don't. Not anymore.
Sometimes.
It takes a couple drinks.
Courtney is like, how am I still here? I don't know this game. I've never really seen the game. I had to learn it on the fly. I wasn't a fan before this. I'm still here. Also, I'm 80 pounds. Give me a little credit.
It's a good way to make really space yourself from the other two who are very similar players.
She's kind of making herself to be like, I'm the lesser of three evils. Like, that's her plan. It's not going to work, but, like, I appreciate the attempt.
And I did say this, what Josh had just gotten at. When you're the third person in Final 3 against two people who played pretty much the same game or were, like, connected at the hip for the entire thing. You need to differentiate yourself. I think the fact that Amanda and Todd were fans of the game beforehand, you're not, I think that is something that you can play into intuition. You can wrap that into some quality that you have that made you get to the final three. But the way she said it was kind of like, I don't even care about this game, and I'm here. How do you feel? Especially you fans on the jury. Haha. So I get what she was trying to say, but it did not come out right.
Won me over a little bit. I've been like, you know what?
Her opening statement got better as it went on.
So Jean Robert comes out, and I think this is as good as any Final Tribal has ever gotten or will ever get again.
This is the best answer.
First, Jean Robert asks Courtney, why should I vote for you? And Courtney, I won individual immunity. Did you win individual immunity, Jean Robert? Dab.
No answer from Jean Robert.
We get to dunk on Jean Robert some more.
He asks Amanda, did you lie to me or did you break a commitment? And Amanda's like, I broke my commitment and I didn't really want to vote you out. That's not really owning your game. You should try and own the move a little bit. Enter Todd for the greatest jury answer of all time. Jean Robert's like, hey, we had a plan to get rid of James, the biggest threat in the game. Why wouldn't you do that and take me out instead? Todd's like, actually, Jean Robert, you were starting to think and have plans and influence people.
That's my job.
I didn't like that. I took that personally.
And I took that personally.
So you know what? You know who my actual biggest threat was? Not James. It was you, Jean Robert. You were the biggest threat because you're so strategic in every day of your life. Just laying it on nice and thick.
Oh, the thickest.
Oh. Jean Robert has nothing to say.
Proceeds to say nothing.
And sits down and James loses his mind. He shut him up. He actually shut him up. And just loses it. Everybody's just like, Jean Robert is speechless.
I think that, quantifiably, this is the best answer.
Just slaps him right back down to the jury bench. Amazing. And the best part of it was a lie.
So, Jean Robert's season ends the same way it begins. Getting dunked on.
And Jean Robert, according to him, his vote was live. He had not made a decision. This made his decision for him.
Yeah.
The fact that he had three
one
people...
question swung it.
Yeah, the fact that he had three people that he didn't want to vote for made it hilarious. Everything that could have gone wrong for Jean Robert this post-merge has gone wrong, and I love it.
So PG wants to know if Todd just kind of slid in here, and Todd's like, no, I followed the art of war, and I did all of these things.
Have you not been listening?
Here's everything I did, and then ties in the whole art of war theme from the beginning of the season.
A good answer. Very good answer.
Very good.
Frosty wants to know what Todd's deal is. Like, dude, I don't even know you. And Todd's like, yeah, I got close to you with the intention of, stabbing you in the back and putting you on the jury. And, put my buddy on the jury. Yeah, good answer.
But it was real.
It was real. I still consider you a friend. And then Frosty's like, Courtney, I feel the most betrayed by you. I assumed Amanda would betray me. I knew Todd would betray me. You, though, I was surprised. Courtney's like, yeah. Everyone was, looking at me, wondering if I would vote you out. And I'm just like, I need to vote you out.
I'm actually surprised that Frosty did not vote for Courtney.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising.
And because that would have been interesting.
Yeah, it would have been a 3-3-1. And then Amanda would have been the deciding vote. Who knows?
And who
Courtney
knows?
Yates, winner of Survivor China.
Possibly.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like we were a lot closer to that than what it seems.
In the multiverse, there are plenty of scenarios where Courtney Yates wins season 15 of Survivor.
What a world.
Oh.
What if she'd been on Winners at War? Courtney Yates wins Winners at War. Oh my god.
You know what? I would have been okay with it.
And the final one, Jamie, she wants to know, why do the others not deserve to win? Air their dirty laundry. Courtney's like, can't really air Todd's dirty laundry because he's wearing it.
Why don't you just put him on a frickin' throne and crown him?
It's a bad answer for Courtney.
That's the worst. Why?
Yeah.
What's Todd's dirty laundry? I think he's already shown you all his dirty laundry. He's proud of it.
And to be fair, I don't think Jamie did a great job at asking this question because she should have framed it differently, as in, why do you deserve it over Todd, basically? She's trying to pit them against each other and put the others down, but she just asked it in a really poor way.
Yeah, and Courtney's not really willing to go there. Todd and Amanda, more so.
They tried, yeah.
Amanda's like, Todd lied too much. And Todd's like, Amanda let me do all the dirty work. They don't get me wrong, they played strategic games, but mine was more strategic. Don't get me wrong, they deserve to win. I'm more deserving. Oh, the finesse. Oh, It's like listening to an orchestra and just like a conductor. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It doesn't get better than this, folks. This is, Art of War. This is the art of Final Tribal Council. This is the goldest standard I can possibly give. Todd is the best at the Final Tribal Council. Number 1.
All right.
Yeah, I would agree.
And we try to do this as often as we can when we're talking about people who have done the best at Tribal Council and people who have done it the worst. I don't think we have any new worse.
No.
But
Nobody's worse than Colby.
the only person who even holds a candle to Todd, and I'm not sure, I'd have to go back and watch Chris's performance again, but it's Chris and Todd.
Oh, yeah.
And they are head and shoulders above everybody.
And Chris had one ass that we were all like, could have been better, could have been worse. And I don't think we can say that about Todd. I think Todd, perfect. I think he aced it.
Based on the questions that Todd was given, I think that he aced it. I don't remember what the exact question was with Chris. I'll have to go back. I'll have to check the tape on that.
So I'm gonna head and put Todd as the best.
We did previously give Chris the gold standard, so
Yep.
I'm glad that you're giving Todd the goldest standard.
The superlative.
I'll put them in the same tier, but I think Todd
that's
is
fair.
better. This is S tier, or if
Yeah.
there's something beyond S tier, I don't know.
I mean, when you have a 1A and a 1B, someone's got to be the A.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. Todd wins 4-2-1. Eric ends up voting for Amanda, and then James and Denise end up voting for Courtney.
Courtney, second place.
Second place. Who would have thought coming into this?
And Derek thought that Amanda was going to win. She got last.
So you guys asked me on the way into Tribal Council, who do you think is going to win? And I said Amanda. And then she fell flat on her face in Tribal, and I was like, okay, clearly... And this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit. The edit for this entire season has been a misdirection because yes, episode 1 gave a heavy favoritism to Todd. But after that, every time you see a social situation, you see Amanda excelling. She's the only one to get out of the cave and go greet the people coming back from reward in the rain. She's the only person who gets to have the one-on-one with PG. That would imply maybe she's going to get PG's vote because they connected and they had this thing. So this entire season, they show Amanda just having social connection, being consistent, being pretty much in a good mood and having a great clarity about everything. And then you get to Final Tribal Council and just blow that all up. Apparently, that's not really the case.
No, you don't have to blow it up. The case is Amanda did have those bonds and connections. People felt more betrayed by her, more hurt by her. You expect it from Todd, but someone who befriends you like that, it makes Amanda come off as a little disingenuous. And I think, PG mentioned her sad doe eyes. And I do think Amanda genuinely feels bad. But the way she presents herself, the feeling bad, nobody cares that you feel bad. Screw you. Todd's never say die attitude, I think, is more appealing to the jury, even if he had lesser bonds than Amanda did.
And this is where I think that had Amanda done different in Final Tribal Council, I think she had a chance. Because she could go in and be like, the second PG says, doe-eyed, I don't want to see it. Amanda, she should have flipped it right then. I mean, she should have been doing it the whole Final Tribal Council, be like, you're not getting the doe-eyed, Amanda. Yeah, I let Todd do the dirty work. But who was the one who kept Todd on point? James. Todd wanted to vote you out 2 tribals earlier. I said that was the wrong time. You got voted out when I said to do it. We did what I wanted. I was the one who kept the ship right the whole time, and I did it while building better bonds with you. I still want to have these bonds, but don't pretend that I was not just as down and dirty as Todd. You need to come in and own it, and I wish she would have done it because I do think that in many ways she played a much better game. And if not for her Final Tribal Council, I would be a total Amanda stan. And also, I cannot speak poorly enough about the choice to take Todd and not bring Denise. That is an unforgivable mistake, and I understand why that would lose you the game.
So if you are in a dynamic duo situation, 2 of you are running the game, the person who has the more teeth and took more of the calls and was kind of the bad guy, if those 2 go to the end of the bad guy is going to win, usually. What you have to do is the beta of the 2 has to cut the alpha's throat before the Final Tribal Council. Final 4, Final 5, whatever. You cut their throat, you could take all the credit for the moves because they're not around. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to play the game as a dynamic duo, Josh, which I feel like you'll do someday.
Oh, yeah, so.
If you're going to be the alpha, great. If you're going to be the beta, cut the alpha's throat.
I won't know which one I would be until I'm in that situation.
Yep, exactly. You gotta know
I'll
that.
decide at 7.
There you go. Perfect. So did the right person win?
Yeah, I think so. I really wish that I could defend Amanda's game more because I think up until her $1 million mistake at 4, she did play a better game than Todd. A game that I would be so fortunate to emulate up until that point. But you need to have that social awareness and the cutthroat attitude to be able to say, this was my strategy, and then cut the throat of the alpha. So she's this close, but that one mistake is enough. You let him slip through the cracks. Todd should be the winner.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy actually that it's Todd. I think he just did such a great job in all aspects of the game. I don't remember. Did he win any immunities?
Nope, none.
So maybe not all aspects of the game, but I think he did a great job both socially and of course strategically, and knew and did exactly what he wanted to do, and made that very vocal that he had a very specific plan and he carried it out exactly. And he even said it in the reunion show that he had all these aspects that he wanted to achieve going in, and he actually couldn't believe that they allowed him to do it. And that's just the showing of a great player.
Yeah, it's Todd. I mean, Amanda had a solid physical game, and she was solid across the board. Pretty consistent. She just kind of tanked a little bit at the end there, where Todd was a little bit all over the place earlier on. He really locked it down later in the game, and then his final tribal council. It's as good as it gets.
Yeah, and for the record, this might be a hot take. Based on what I saw, which is less than 1% of 1%, I get it. My jury vote would have gone to Amanda, and I would not be ashamed to do that. But even as that juror, to see Todd come out as the winner, I'd be like, that makes sense.
I would have voted for Todd.
I would have voted for Todd.
Congrats to all of us. Our winner pick did it.
Hooray!
We did it!
So, Amanda and Courtney will both play again. Do we want to see it?
Courtney plays again.
Yes, she does.
I didn't know. Interesting. Yes to both. I'm more excited to see Amanda play again because I feel like her game can cross seasons, and I think that she can go back and check the tape and see exactly where she went wrong and try and do something similar. But I'm always on board for another Courtney. I was pretty endeared to her loose-lipped demeanor.
I'm fine without Courtney just because I think that we saw everything that she really has to offer, and she made it very known that she doesn't really care about the game side of it. So I don't think we would really get much from her even on a second time around. Amanda, I feel like we almost the same thing, where I feel like we saw everything that she has to offer and she just kind of flubbed a little bit at the end. I'm going to say yes to Amanda just to see how she would do the second time around, but I would have really low expectations.
Bring them both back. I'm more excited for Courtney. You're probably wondering why Todd doesn't play again. It's a sad story. Todd, since Survivor, became like a raging alcoholic. Like he almost died. He was on Dr. Phil a couple times. He couldn't walk. His alcoholism was that bad.
Jesus.
Like it's heartbreaking to watch. He did not cope well with the fame. So he's been sober for the last 3 years now, finally. But he almost died, and he should not go back on Survivor. So he has not been healthy. So it's a sad story.
He's the one person that I wish was on Winners at War. That was not.
Yeah, if we put that aside, then yeah, Todd would have been my pick.
Yeah.
It sucks, it's sad, but that's what it is. So, reunion show, it's Dunk on John Robert time.
Also, Jeff bringing up every single inconceivable and uncomfortable topic.
So, Courtney talks about how kids are her biggest fans, but she hates kids, and it's amazing.
That's hilarious.
Jeff asks her if she has an eating disorder, asks about Jamie and Eric, they're now dating, and asks if Eric is still a virgin. Why would you ask that?
He claims yes. We have no reason to not believe him.
Things we don't need to say on national TV.
I'm glad he did, but it was totally uncalled for.
Yeah. And Jeff brings up the sucks at life comment, and Courtney gives him the finger very casually.
On camera.
James wins the fan favorite award.
No surprise.
Now, the big moment. Denise. It's really heartbreaking because she's lost her job as a lunch lady. She's working as a custodian now. She doesn't get to see the kids, and it's because she's too distracting. All the kids are too excited. It's Denise from Survivor's on the show.
That sounds like a lawsuit, by the way. That sounds ridiculous.
And so Mark Burnett gives her $50,000, to make up for it. The next day, the school goes to the press. And guess who is completely full of crap? Denise.
Oh, no.
Didn't happen. She wanted to be the custodian. She got back and asked to be a custodian and then made all this up. And none of this is true. And Denise ended up saying she was going to give the $50,000 to a charity instead. So Denise is full of crap. This didn't happen.
I don't understand. What?
Yep. Oh, watching you. So Derek didn't know this. Josh and Derek like trying not to laugh as all this is happening. As Denise is telling this heartbreaking tale of woe, how she lost her job and all this stuff. And they're like, yeah, none of that happened. She wanted to be the custodian. She got a raise. What? None of this happened. Derek's mind's just blown right now.
I have rocks in my head.
And I'm so glad that we've waited to share this with Derek.
I feel like
until
if
now.
you turned my nose, a gumball would fall out of my mouth. Like, what is going on? Why?
She wanted money.
I understand, but like, why?
I'm so happy I decided to save it this time.
Yeah.
'Cause normally, sometimes I tell Derek just this stuff when we're watching it, but this time I'm like, I'm saving this for the podcast.
So much breaking news for Derek.
So, who is the best player of the season?
Denise.
I'll answer it. Todd is my best player of the season.
Yeah. Yep.
I really want to say Amanda, but she flubbed way too hard at the end. She did better for the first, all but the last episode, but she Lightning McQueened it, blew a tire, and Chick Hick won. So it's Todd.
Now for worst player of the season, and just a reminder, we only count the people who make the merge, so the final 10 in this case, we can only pick one of those 10. Who do you guys think was the worst player of the season?
I'm going to say Jean Robert. I think most of it, part of this, admittedly, is results-oriented thinking. It's looking at things in hindsight. But the dude said that he would not play Survivor any differently if he were to do it again. That is straight from the mouth of a guy who does not understand the game of Survivor one iota. So because that was said in the reunion show, I'm counting it as evidence against him. He is a trash player at Survivor. He's horrible at the social game. You know what? It doesn't matter how strategic you are if you're a complete moron in every other aspect. So it's Jean Robert with a bullet.
And to be fair, he played exactly the game that he wanted to. Like, he said from the beginning, like, I'm going to be kind of the bad guy in the first half, and then completely turn it around after the merge.
I think you mean bad boy.
Oh, the bad boy.
With a Harley.
Yeah.
Certified bad boy, Jean Robert.
I got a thing in my wallet that says I'm a bad boy.
So I'm a certified bad boy.
Certified bad boy.
So he did play exactly the way that he wanted to. It just didn't work because it wasn't a great strategy overall.
You know what else you can do? Crash your car intentionally. That doesn't make you the best driver. It makes you the worst driver because that's the opposite of what you want to do.
I really want to give it to Courtney, but Jean Robert is on this season, so I don't think I can.
I'm going to give it to Courtney. I think overall, I think Jean Robert is better strategically than Courtney, which is not saying much, but...
And here's the reason why, because, okay, so my argument for Courtney is that she didn't do anything strategically and was even actively, I mean, let's look at, like, the entire first half and even bleeding into the merge, where she's voting roguely for Jean Robert just because she doesn't like him, voting outside of any sort of alliance. Now, she did come around, and she stopped doing that after Jean Robert was out. But that's the thing that makes me want to pick her. It's just that even though Jean Robert had some good strategic thoughts, he just sucked. Sucks so bad at actually executing anything. So that's why I would lean towards him. I really want to give it to Courtney, but that's my reasoning.
Courtney was around longer than Jean Robert. Jean Robert didn't get a chance to do as much, which, it's bad, a point against him. But Courtney just, especially in the end game, she was making bad calls. She just didn't have a lot of right calls, and any of the right calls she did have were other people's moves that she just jumped on with.
If someone picked Courtney, I wouldn't be mad at them. But Jean Robert is awful.
Oh, yeah. You're not. Jean Robert's awful. I just think overall
Yeah,
Courtney was worse.
yeah.
As much as I love her.
I actually changed my mind about my worst player for the season. I'm going with Courtney.
Okay.
Yep. You reinforced my original thoughts, and I wavered on them because it didn't feel right, and then you justified them. So I'm going with Courtney.
Okay. Sounds good. Jeff Watch, anything new?
Other than all of the inappropriate questions at the reunion show, which I loved for TV, we don't need to do that all the time, but I will say this was not a snooze fest.
This is one of the best reunion shows.
I loved how Jeff also got in on dunking on Jean Robert during a couple challenges and really wasn't standing for any complaining at all. And he even got on Denise's case for not being able to eat the balut the second time. He's like, Denise, are you serious? Come on, this is $1 million. Eat the balut. And she's like, I can't. So Jeff was mean this season.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to go there, and I enjoyed it.
How about weather report?
This season sucked. This season sucked. I'm realizing that when I'm cast on Survivor, they're going to throw me on an inland season. And I'm just going to be like, oh,
They haven't
man.
done an inland season in over 10 years.
I know, but my luck.
Yeah.
It'll be an inland season, and I'm just going to be like, oh no, this is going to suck. Rained every day. It was boggy and wet. One of the camps was flooding all the time. They huddled in a small cave. It got over 100 degrees in jungle. I don't think that the bugs were all that bad. They didn't really talk about like the wildlife or any issues there, but I think that weather, this has been a worst 3 seasons so far. Maybe an outside at like 4, but I'd have to really think about it. This has been a rough season.
Josh, memorability consultant.
Hello.
For the pre-merge, you had, what was your most memorable moment of
The Tribe Steel.
the Tribe Steel? Would you say that's going to win overall?
Ooh, it might. It might just win.
Okay, well, just for...
Let's hear the nominations. So right now, my nominations that I have is James getting voted out with 2 idols in his pocket. Are there any other nominees?
We're done.
Nothing holds a candle.
It's James, the 2 idols.
Yeah, it really is not even close.
Blows the first
it
one.
forever will just be burned into your minds, and it as it should.
One of the easiest ones you've ever had, I think.
One of.
All right, last thing we got to do before we wrap things up here, season rankings. Where do we put Survivor China in the rankings of the seasons? I'll go first. First place, Palau, Pearl Islands, Vanuatu, and coming in 4th place is China. And then Borneo, Amazon, Fiji, Guatemala, Panama, Africa, Australian Outback, Marquesas, Cook Islands, All-Stars, Thailand.
Yeah, for my season rankings, at number 1, I'm just going to have Survivor China slide right on in.
Oh, wow.
At number 1 overall, which overtakes Palau at number 2, and then just running down Pearl Islands, Amazon, Vanuatu, Guatemala, Australia, Fiji, Panama, Exile Island, Borneo, Africa, Cook Islands, All-Stars, and then my bottom tier of Marquesas and Thailand.
Okay. Josh.
All right, so starting from the top, China, number 1.
Wow.
We're so basic.
I knew that this was going to be number 1, so yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
but I had such a good
I
time.
kind of had already made that decision going into the season, which is fine. I just enjoy it so much. It is only like inches above number 2 being Pearl Islands after that. So China, Pearl Islands, Palau, Amazon, Vanuatu, Borneo, Australia, Guatemala, Fiji, Panama, Africa, Cook Islands, Marquesas, All-Stars, Thailand.
Okay. Now, moving on from season 15 to season 16, Micronesia, fans versus favorites. It's here. It's happening.
Hoot hoot.
We're bringing back 10 returning players to take on 10 super fans. Derek wanted to play a little game, and he wanted to put his dream cast on. His 10 favorites that he would bring on, 5 men, 5 women, put on Survivor Micronesia, fans versus favorites. The caveat being, just like on the show, none of them were from Survivor All-Stars and none of them were from Survivor Guatemala. So these are all second-time returnees. So, Derek and Thralis, who are your 10 people?
So for the guys, I have Greg from Borneo, Chris from Vanuatu, James from China, Sean Rector from Marquesas, and I have Ozzy from Cook Islands. And then for my girls, I'm going to go with Sandra from Pearl Islands, Suri from Panama, T-Bird from Africa. I'm going to go with Amy from Vanuatu, and I want to see Amanda come back immediately to see if she can do better, so Amanda from China.
Okay.
And there's my favorites.
Okay. So that's Derek's list. We'll see how many of them he got right, and we'll see how this goes. Survivor Micronesia will be fun. Anything else, guys?
I love China, and I feel like there are a lot of shadows and rumors that I know about fans versus favorites, but full disclosure, I do not know who wins, but I think I know a couple things that happen, because if you're a fan of Survivor, you've probably seen a certain thing played over and over and over again.
Impossible.
This season doesn't have the most famous thing ever happened in Survivor history. No way. All right, you can follow us on Twitter at Castaway Pod. Anything else, guys?
And that's everything.
I don't think so.
All right, this has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.